to you by Barfoot and Thompson.
On the show today, we're talking all things health with the fabulous health coach Shelley Smith. Welcome to Property Matters. Welcome along to another Monday, and it's our 99th episode of Property Matters, so thanks to everyone who's been tuning in. We've got some fabulous special guests next week for our special 100th episode, and remember you can download past shows on Spotify, Apple, Samsung, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or pretty much wherever you like to get your podcasts, and of course here at Planet FM on planetaudio.org.nz. Now this week I am really excited to welcome in a fabulous health coach, Shelley Smith, to the show. Welcome along.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, and you know, full disclosure, Shelley has been my health coach for the last little while, and I thought for lots of different reasons around leadership, this is going to be a really interesting discussion. Hopefully she doesn't give away too many of my bad habits or secrets throughout the show, but it's really lovely to invite someone on that I can endorse, having, you know, been through the program with you. Before we talk all things health, just tell us a little bit about you and your own career journey.
Yeah, so I wasn't always a health coach. I've had a few lives. I was a kindergarten teacher in Hong Kong for 3 years, and then I worked in advertising in London for 5, and it was very much a fast-paced corporate lifestyle. I'll sleep when I'm dead mentality, lots of drinking, lots of late nights, and then I went on a journey to take better care of myself and found health coaching.
Brilliant. I was going to ask, you know, was the fast food ever in your world? But it sounds like the drinking was anyway. But that's good. We're all normal, and that means you've come from a realistic background. What made you choose sort of the health coaching side of things?
I wanted to do more meaningful work. No offense to anyone that works in advertising, but I wanted to help people and do something that made me feel good every day, and it just really felt purposeful. And so health coaching actually came to me. I ran into an old neighbour from my childhood who had just studied with Precure, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, health coaching, and then dove into it and was like, yeah, this is me for the rest of my life now. I really believe in the ability of health coaching to change our health system.
So what's involved in your sort of day-to-day world as a health coach? If someone's looking at this from a career point of view, what does a health coach do?
Yeah, so at the moment, the word health coach is unregulated, so anyone can call themselves a health coach, but I'm part of HCANSA, which is the Health Coaching Australia-New Zealand Association, which makes sure that we're meeting international standards. And so a health coach like me will be working with people with long-term conditions and lifestyle illnesses, or just general issues around energy and health and well-being. A lot of us specialize in certain areas, so someone might be a hormone coach or a gut health coach or a mental health coach. We all use the same coaching skills the way a life coach would or a business coach, but really looking at the whole person, body, mind, spirit, to get them back into balance and feeling good, because 75% of what people present at hospitals and GP clinics with are stress-related illnesses. And it's sort of not understood or spoken about enough.
Have we seen that get worse post sort of pandemic times, the stress-related ones?
Yeah, definitely the mental health stuff, the low mood, depression, anxiety. People are really struggling out there and just don't have the tools to look after themselves. And I think we almost have a problem of too much information, and people don't have the right support in their lives to figure out what's right for them. It all becomes overwhelming, so they end up doing nothing.
Yeah, I can imagine. What areas of health and fitness do you personally cover or enjoy covering the most?
Yeah, so I do something that's probably a little bit unique. I take, the latest science and lifestyle medicine, and I mix it with my knowledge of Eastern philosophy and Ayurveda to take a look holistically at what's going on for someone, perhaps looking at the chakras or what I know about routine from Ayurveda, and helping them to implement something that is going to work for their life, because there's no one size fits all approach to health. So it's really taking in someone's culture and their own likes and dislikes and their lifestyle to find something that works. What works for you, Stephen, doesn't work for my other clients. And so it's being able to adapt and be flexible.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that we had our first session was very much sort of getting to know me and my crazy world with no judgment. And but I could tell straight away that was really important for you to understand me. It wasn't, so you might go to a GP, etc., where they're going to instantly go, well, this is what you need to do, but they might not understand that won't necessarily fit in your lifestyle, but they're looking at it from a medicinal point of view. You've come in from an angle of, let me look at your lifestyle and what can we do to adapt and fit and work within it. So talk me through, for someone listening today who's going to have their first session with a health coach. I know the answer to this, but talk me through, what's it like for that first visit? What are you after? What's the information you're gathering?
Yeah, so with every new client that I have a whole life assessment that goes through not only your health and your mental health, but your relationships, your family, partner if you've got one, your finance, learning, like all these different categories. And often that gives us a good starting point of where things aren't quite working or where things are out of balance, and that informs the rest of our time working together. I also work in a GP clinic as a health coach as part of a government system to implement health coaches in primary care. And we do something called a hua oranga, which is similar to what I do privately, but, looking at different aspects of someone's life again to see where things aren't quite working.
I love that you're working inside a GP clinic. So does the GP refer to you, or is it like a combined work?
Yeah, so to see a health coach within a GP clinic, you don't need to see the doctor. You can self-refer. But because people don't know yet what a health coach is and they don't know that we're in the clinic or how it works, most of the referrals do come from the GP or the nurses. So it might be someone that's newly diagnosed pre-diabetic or has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, those sort of things. And the doctor will say, instead of the doctor spending your 15 minutes talking about diet and lifestyle, they'll say, hey, we've got this health coach. It's free to see them. Let's book you in. And so that's where we're really complementary and like adding value in clinics. And they're all throughout New Zealand as well. So you can ask your GP if there's a health coach attached to the clinic.
That's cool. And I don't think a lot of people know that.
No. And so along with the health coach, there's also a HIP or health improvement practitioner, and they're more of a mental health professional, and they're also free to see. You can see them as many times as you like. And it's all about brief intervention in the moment and getting in early, which I think is really progressive. This has been, there was a pilot scheme just before COVID, and then things kind of slowed down over COVID, but now it's really ramped up, and, they're trying to get a health coach and a HIP into nearly every GP practice.
Where did you study? How much to study and prep did you need to do or keep doing to stay up with everything?
Yeah, so I studied with Precure, which is a New Zealand-based qualification. It's a university-level qualification in health coaching, so it was practical coaching skills, but also that background knowledge in lifestyle medicine, how, best practice. But it didn't stop there. I went to India and I did yoga teacher training. I studied Reiki. I did a neuroscience boot camp with this amazing Kiwi neuroscientist called Sarah Mackay. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly keeping up to date with the latest information because the science changes.
Yeah.
And things evolve. And so think about the panic over having soy because it causes man boobs, or we shouldn't have eggs because it causes high cholesterol. All of of those things have been debunked, and now it's looking at, okay, what's the best practice for longevity? What are things that are going to work for most people? Like people go on these extreme diets like keto or carnivore diet or being vegan, cutting out lots of food groups, which works for a short time or maybe an extended time for that person because you're not eating the processed food. But I try and teach people the skills and lifestyle strategies for the rest of their life, so that they can keep themselves well. I don't need to be working with someone forever, right? I want them to be able to take care of themselves.
But it is sometimes, and you and I have talked about, it's having that accountable person, in your life that goes, so how are you getting on? Are you doing this? Do you need help? But also that mental thing, especially too if you're paying for it, is that thing of, I've got to put value to this, so I need to at least try this for the next few weeks so I can report back to the health coach. And that's the same if you have a business coach or a life coach. They set you goals and things to achieve. But I think sometimes it's important to have someone to be accountable back to. And if you don't have a partner or someone in your world, then even better to have that independent person.
Yes, and that's what people enjoy about having a coach, is that accountability, because we can all set goals for ourselves, but without someone watching, who's going to know if you actually do it? And having a coach who's knowledgeable in this area to be able to guide you, and, often people make the mistake, they're very eager to make changes and they'll set out way too many things and they fail because they set the bar too high, and then they get disappointed when they didn't keep up with it. So generally when I'm working with someone, it's actually really small incremental habit changes that builds up like compound interest. Like people come to me and they're like, wow, I didn't realize that going for a, say, 10-minute walk before work, before working a 60-hour week, would help me to have so much energy. And it really is the little things that move the needle with health. We're not talking about a big overhaul. It's small tweaks around generally eating more protein, just eating better, doing a little bit of movement and prioritizing your sleep are kind of the pillars of our health.
And we kind of all know it, but it's having somebody sort of frame it correctly and make those little changes. I came to Shelley and one of the things I said was, really struggle around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm an early riser, busy life, busy days, as you know, do many different things. But that 3 or 4 o'clock, and the first thing Shelley said is, what do you have for lunch? And I said, well, I love my sushi. And she said, well, that's your problem. We need to look at what we're having for lunch, and what a difference. Gone are the 3 o'clocks. I used to come into this radio station. It's a really hot room. And, there's times that I've really struggled to stay awake, and that's nothing to do with the guest in front of me. That's just 4 o'clock, it's hot, you're in a room, you've sat down, you've stopped. That's all changed since meeting you and reframing what I have for lunch. And I'd never have thought that. And to be honest, approaching 50 and thought, bugger, is this where I'm heading now, a shift in energy? But it's actually completely shifted back again. So well done. Big golden ticket.
Thank you. And look, all that was the white rice spiking your blood sugar and then crashing. And, we don't have to never have white rice, but it's all about dressing your carbs with some fat and some more protein than what you would have been having. And you can have these things, but also listening to your body. So often we don't tune in and we ignore what the body's trying to tell us. Like if you bloat, if you've got cramping in your stomach, if you've got reflux, if these things aren't what you're putting in your body, if they aren't working for you, don't try and override the body's systems. Listen to what it's trying to tell you and make some changes. Because inflammation in the body sits in a spectrum and goes up and down depending on how stressed you are and all these lifestyle factors. And it's just being aware of that and modifying.
Absolutely. How much do you tailor the program per person, or do you have sort of your factory standard, this is where I'm going to head, and then tweak it, or is it no, I need to start pretty much from scratch each time?
It's always from scratch because everyone's life is unique. In the clinic, if they're coming in and they're pre-diabetic or diabetic, there's general lifestyle things that need to happen to get the blood sugar down. But the thing with coaching is that it's always on the client's agenda. So if they want to talk about exercise or stress management or what they're eating, that's their choice, and we'll go down that route. So there is definitely it's all about what they want, but me guiding it into a way that's going to help them to reach their goals. Yeah.
Do you find people come to you for specific things? Like, is there more people that come to you that go, I really want to lose some weight and it's just not working for me, or I want to look at my nutrition, or the age factor? Is there specific, or is it a real mix?
To be honest, it's a real mix.
That's
you
good.
know, I'm in my late 30s, and I thought I would resonate with women around a similar age, that corporate background, but I actually get clients in their 20s and in their 50s and 60s, and I'm able to connect with anyone really because of my general interest in the world and in people, and sort of how widely I've travelled, and you know, I can sort of bring all of that life experience in to be able to ask them the right questions about their life and create that safe space for them to be vulnerable with me. And you know, someone might come to me saying they want to lose weight, but actually deep down there's these core issues of not loving themselves and not having, you know, enough self-esteem, which is then leading to the not eating well and not doing any exercise. So we actually work on those things first, and that might be catching up with a friend or doing something for themselves. And what I see a lot of is people, especially women, giving too much of their energy away to others and becoming depleted, and that catches up with you in midlife, you know, and you're just exhausted all the time and you're unhappy, and you know, you're not taking care of yourself. And especially as we start to go through that menopause transition, that can impact your symptoms.
And again, having someone accountable. So a simple thing of, have you seen a friend this week?
Yeah.
Did you go for a 10-minute walk in the morning?
Yeah.
It's so important. How much do you focus on that mental well-being, aside from the sort of what we would call your fitness, your health, your nutrition?
Yeah. Well, it goes hand in hand. I mean, 95% of our serotonin, which is our happy hormone, is produced in the gut. And so if your gut is out of balance, then that's going to be affecting your mental health. So we do things like breathing exercises, gratitude, sometimes affirmations, you know, things to boost the mental health, and work on they also help with stress, which then leads into the physical things. You know, it is all connected, and that's where medicine currently the way the system is set up has gone wrong, because we're looking at people for the body part and not getting to the root cause. You know, it's not a GP's fault with these 15-minute appointments. But it's just doing a bit of a disservice to people who need a bit more time and a bit more support to get to the real problem.
And I guess the more people see you, the more they'll open up, because they'll trust you. You'll build that trust to feel safe to say, actually, this is a problem I'm having.
Absolutely, you know, and that's why it's really complimentary having the HIP and a health coach in the clinic, because we get half-an-hour appointments, so we can spend more time with the patient, and we can, you know, they often tell us things that they don't tell the doctor.
Yeah. Absolutely. How much does food and nutrition play in everybody's sort of health, well-being, general day-to-day sort of coping? And what are some of your top tips in that space? Because you've given me a few.
Yeah. So I think the pillars of health really are our nutrition, exercise, and sleep. But I also coach around relationships, which is that relationship to yourself and relationship to, you know, those people around you, because if those are out of balance, they can also have negative effects on your life. So in terms of nutrition, where I see a lot of people going wrong is not being prepared. It's being busy, not planning meals, and buying things on the go, which aren't often the best choices to support how you feel. So then, because we're tired, our hunger hormone ghrelin goes into overdrive, and we naturally crave more sugar and carbs. So then, you know, it's just a negative cycle. And then again, when you're tired, you don't feel like exercising.
Yeah.
So I almost can't pull them apart of like food is more important, because all three work together. And when one gets out of balance, the other thing, you know, it's a house of cards, right? It all falls down. Yeah.
Top tips for sleep? Getting a good night's sleep?
Yeah.
Is it true that routine is one of the biggest keys? That same bedtime, same awake time?
Yeah, absolutely. And preparing the space for sleep. So, try not to scroll before bed, devices in the room, and clearing your mind before bed. A lot of people talk about waking up at 2, 3 a.m. and to me that's always a sign of stress, and you might not feel like you're stressed, but your body wakes you up and is like, okay, let's sort this thing out, and you're like, no, it's sleep time. So it's really having those nourishing practices before bed, and it might be doing some kind of breathing exercise or meditation, or one I love from yoga is just putting your feet up the wall for 10 minutes. And box breathing. I've got a few clients that struggle with anxiety, and they do the box breathing, and that's made a huge difference for them.
Describe that.
It's a technique that's used by yogis, but also Navy SEALs, and it's been highly researched. And it's literally just inhaling for a count of 4, holding your breath for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4, and holding for a count of 4. So making that square shape with the breath. And when you're thinking about the counting, you're not thinking about anything else. So it helps you to be really present and in the moment.
Bonus points if you're doing it while your feet are up the wall.
Yeah, exactly. No, I would actually suggest
Brilliant.
that. Yeah. So those are probably the main things, is getting out of your head what you need to before you go to sleep. So perhaps that's having a notepad by your bed so you can write down things that come to you. But yes, that kind of routine of going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning, and prioritizing getting at least 7 hours sleep. There's very few people that can survive on less sleep. And fun fact, people, say, all I need is 4 hours, but it's very unlikely that you are functioning at
they don't
capacity.
know what they're missing,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a huge risk factor for Alzheimer's and brain diseases, not sleeping. So, we want to be doing the work now for future you so that your health span is as long as possible. So not just your lifespan, right? So say you live to 90, you want to be healthy for as many of those years as possible and not have 20 years of in and out of hospital.
People laugh at me because I still have a landline phone.
Really?
And the purpose is for a good night's sleep, because I have very elderly parents and I have young children who are out in the world, and I want them to be able to call in an emergency either end, and the rest home, the retirement village might call, but there's something about being able to switch that phone off, not needing it on, not needing to set up anything so it's not, the cell phone's not going off. It goes off completely, but the landline's there, and I know with great peace and comfort that in an emergency someone can wake me up, but it's not my cell phone with every ding and light flashing and everything else. I know you can set all your do not disturb and all of that, but that works. You'll laugh though, because having a dark space or a good space to sleep in is great. Our apartment building currently has been used for a movie set at night.
Oh,
so
great.
they are lighting it up with massive floodlights. So from 8 p.m. till about 2 in the morning, honestly, you could literally read by the light coming through. It's incredible. So I love the fact that the arts world are making movies in Auckland CBD. I just hope it finishes soon.
Well, that's what I mean about preparing your room. If you need to invest in blackout curtains or in earplugs. I mean, I sleep with earplugs every night because I live next to quite a noisy road, and it's such a game changer. I sleep so much better with them.
Yeah, you're not waking with every little bang. Now, when should someone look at a health coach? Is there that key time in their life? Is it an age thing, a business thing, a work? When's a good time to go, hey, Shelley, should we have a conversation?
I think when they start to feel the energy being depleted and things aren't quite right, I mean, you can take a preventative approach, and I'm about to launch a subscription, a health coaching subscription, where it's a session a month to kind of keep you there for the accountability and keep you on track. Seeing a health coach should be like seeing a therapist, and something that you invest in yourself, right? I mean, you get your hair cut every month, you do all these other things for your well-being. Why not see a health coach? But, someone that wants to come and work together for like a longer period of time, or, when things aren't quite right. It really is when you know that you want to make changes but you don't know where to start and you want that accountability.
Brilliant. Now, I first met you as part of a leadership course where I'm doing a 12-module course, and you were given both a leadership coach and a health coach, which I think is brilliant. And we have a lot of business leaders that listen to the show, a lot of people in the real estate industry across the country, and I love the fact that it was sort of run in tandem. So talk through some of the work you've done or are doing in this leadership space.
Yeah, so I'm lucky to be part of a leadership program called The Bridge. This great guy, Kenny, he is ex-Navy, so very disciplined and very different energy to me, very different life experience. So we really complement each other in what we offer for leaders. You know, we've got the 12 modules, but then, you know, you can't be a high-performing leader if you're not looking after your health and well-being. And so I think people don't know what to expect with me as part of the course, but with the feedback they've had, you know, even if they've made really small changes, it's made a big impact on their life. And so I really encourage, you know, anyone that wants to be at the top of their game as a leader, or even if you are a people leader in general, to invest in your well-being, because if your cup is full and your batteries are charged, you're going to be better for everyone in your life, not just your team, but your family as well and your friends.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, take my energy level we were talking about, you know, managing a team, and at 3 or 4 o'clock, if the boss is always fading, you're not going to get inspired, you know, so it's so good to keep that sort of thing up. Plus, I think it opens your eyes a little bit to your own team and their world, their diet, everything, and what can we do as leaders to actually help support and encourage that, because we live in this world of processed food, quick grab food, the energy drinks. I mean, that terrifies me, the amount that are out there, and all guilty of having them. But, you know, it gives you a better understanding as a leader to look after your team.
Yeah, and I think once you have this knowledge about health and you observe how your team is operating, you know, if they're coming in tired or you see what they're eating, then it helps you to understand why they might not be performing as well as they could, and it gives you an insight into their life. And, you know, often people are doing those things because you know, things are stressful at home, or there's more going on, and it might open up that dialogue as a manager in your one-on-one to kind of go a little bit deeper and even have a mental health conversation, which I know people are very scared to do. And this is what I sometimes coach my leaders on, is how comfortable they feel doing that. And, you know, I always say to them, you don't have to solve the problem. People just want to be heard and seen, and so it's just holding space. And I know we want to fix things, but that's not what someone needs in the moment. And then you can signpost to EAP or whatever the company provides, but it's just sort of showing that you care and you see them and hold that space for them.
And that you're checking on their well-being before you're dealing with what other issue might have been causing a drama in the workspace. Actually, before we touch any of that, are you okay? Is everything all right in your world?
Yeah. Creating that safe space.
Because we only see them in that, you know, they walk in the door in the morning. We don't know what's happened in their journey before coming here, or what health battles they may be fighting as well.
Yeah.
How do we get the balance right between looking after ourselves but also enjoying life? You know, is it okay to have the odd glass of wine or that naughty KFC occasionally?
Yeah, look, as I said, I used to have a very big drinking habit in my life with that lifestyle, and it is kind of 80-20. I mean, it is Dry July today, the first day.
True.
So
yes.
I'll talk to this about alcohol. Unfortunately, the World Health Organization says there's no safe amount of alcohol that you can drink. So it really is advisable to be mindful of your consumption. And what I always say to people is that it should be special occasions. You know, the casual weeknight drinking is detrimental to your health. You know, it's linked to cancers and all sorts of health problems, including mental health issues. And so dialing it back and, you know, saving it for when you're socializing or...
I like the celebration idea.
Yeah, or a special occasion is probably best practice for your health. Yeah. And then again, the KFC, you know, 80-20 because you want to enjoy life. I always say to people, look, I'm not a monk. I eat, not perfect all the time, and I do have a drink every now and again, but it's really getting the foundations right, because when you are eating well most of the time, your body can handle the KFC, but if you're eating takeaways, 5-6 nights a week, that's when you're going to get high blood pressure and all of the metabolic health problems are going to come in.
Life is too short, so you should have some fun every now and then, but by doing things right, you're going to extend your lifetime to enjoy it even more.
Yeah, and I think once you start taking care of yourself and you feel good, like I wake up with energy, and the reason I'm a health coach is because I want other people to have this feeling. And once people start taking better care of themselves and they have that energy, it just changes everything, their mood, their outlook, their skin, their relationships. And so once you chase that and you get it, you want to keep that feeling.
Love it. What are some of your top tips when it comes to health and fitness for someone wanting to sort of kickstart a better health journey, no matter where in their lifetime they are, and they're suddenly listening to this and they go, actually, it is my time to do that? What are some of those first steps they could take? Yeah,
it's being prepared, getting organised, especially around food.
Yeah.
That's the mistake I see people making, is not having a shopping list, not thinking ahead about what they're going to make. So I'd say, I use an app called AnyList to write my shopping list. It's on my phone. I spend half an hour on a Sunday deciding what meals I'm going to have and going to buy the food. And so I'm ready to go. I don't get home from work and I go, what's for dinner? I already know and I already have the things. And it's a bit fluid, like, I have quick and easy meals as well. An omelette is my absolute go-to, or something with eggs. But I always have those things in the freezer, in the pantry, so that I can pull something together when I'm tired. So I'd say being organised and spending a little bit of time preparing saves you time during the week. And you can do click and collect or delivery, There's so many options these days to be prepared if you don't like going to the supermarket.
Well, and also if you go to the supermarket hungry, you always come back with 10 times more things. So the joy of delivery and click and collect is you only get what you actually needed.
Exactly.
Which saves you money as well. Should we be looking more at what's in our food? Like when we are at that supermarket, and you've taught me a lot around just simple things around the bread I was having and making that shift. What should we be looking for as consumers?
Definitely shopping around the outside of the supermarket. So most of the packaged food is very processed, and if you can't read the ingredient label, then you shouldn't be putting it in your body, because it is, chuck out margarine. It's just toxic. Stay away from seed oils. We want to be cooking with extra virgin olive oil, these like whole foods with one ingredient, things like canned tomatoes and beans are fine, but all these packet sauces with gums and emulsifiers, like all these things that we don't find in nature are damaging our insides, are damaging our gut, getting out of balance. So just trying to cook whole foods and getting back to basics of how our grandparents ate.
And there's so many recipes available online. Like you just mentioned, the sauces and exactly that. Look at the amount of ingredients that goes into a simple sauce or gravy. Jump on old Google and Granddad's recipes up there, and it's only got 3 ingredients and it tastes just as good. It is using those tools are important.
Well, I've spent quite a bit of time in India, and I learned how to cook curries from scratch. I actually have a friend who's a chef, and over COVID he was teaching me online, how to make these curries from scratch, and it's actually so easy.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting all of these other things in it. It's just the spices and the oil and the herbs, and then we're good to go.
Good old
it's
tomato
delicious.
juice, and away you go.
Yeah, chopped tomato.
My first job was in an Indian restaurant, and that was the best thing, was learning so many recipes as an 18-year-old to then go flatting, and anyone could come to me for a curry.
Yeah, impressive.
Now, you laughed when you saw this question because you know where it came from. Because I said, if someone hates the gym, what are some good tips to keep them active?
Yeah.
Because the gym's not for everybody.
Absolutely. And if you think about the research that's been done on the blue zones around longevity, those people in Sardinia and Greece and Okinawa, they're not going to the gym, but they're moving every day. You know, they live in mountainous areas, they're active, they're in the garden, they're out hiking with friends, you know, they're keeping busy and moving, and that's what helps us be healthy. So, you know, in the sort of modern world that we live in, this Western world, we know that we should be doing resistance exercises to build our muscles, but whatever that is, just do something, and something is better than nothing. Just get moving, you know, taking the stairs, parking further away from the supermarket, all of those little things count.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are so much more capable than what we think we are, and we really should be challenging ourselves physically, because it's use it or lose it. Because once you start getting sore and, you know, joints are going and stuff, we think, oh, I can't do that anymore. But life becomes really restrictive, and you don't want to be that person that can't get up off the floor. You know, I'm not going to sit on the floor because I won't be able to get back up, or I'm not going to, I can't go there because the stairs and I can't get up the stairs, you know. You want to be able training to be able to do these things for when you're old.
Absolutely. Now, we've just got a couple of minutes left. Tell us about your retreats coming up, because these look exciting.
Yeah, so super exciting, actually. I'm taking a group to Kerala in southern India, which is where I did my yoga teacher training in January this next year, because I've identified that, you know, for so many people, their whole identity is tied up with who they are at work, and they've never really found themselves or allowed themselves to live the life authentically that they wanted. And so this is an opportunity, through having new experiences in a beautiful location. You know, this beach town we're going to is on the Arabian Sea.
Wow.
It's palm lime beaches with coconuts and tropical fruit and, you know, all the birds and things. And you see the sunset over the ocean every day. And, you know, we're going to explore Ayurveda, get Ayurvedic treatments, and go see the Ayurvedic doctor, which we don't have time to go into what Ayurveda is, but it's pretty awesome. It's the Indian science of life. You know, we're going to learn to cook with my friend Khan and go to the market and learn about the food, and we're going to start the day with yoga and do some coaching and just have your own eat, pray, love moment. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because India can be quite a daunting place to go, and I think we have this picture in our mind of it being chaos, which some of it is, let's be honest. But this place where we're going, Varkala Beach, is so different and relaxed, and they call Kerala God's own country because it's just has a completely different vibe.
Can anyone sign up, any age? Like, what sort of demographic is this for? Or?
Yeah. So, you know, I'll definitely be chatting to people before they sign up to make sure this is the trip that's right for them. You really have to have an open mind and be open to trying new things. But, you know, age and life stage doesn't matter. It's all about attitude, and it's designed to take all the pain points out of traveling. So I'm there to facilitate everything. You don't have to eat at the same restaurant that the group is every night. You have lots of flexibility. You don't have to do, you know, organised fun activities every day that the tour tells you to.
But it's
this is your trip.
Nice.
Exactly. You know, if you want to go surfing, if you want to get a chakra reading, if you want to get acupuncture, you want to get clothes made, you want to do a sound bowl healing, all of those are things that I will organise for you.
Brilliant.
Or you can sit on the beach every day and read a book, you know. This is your holiday.
Love it. We've run out of time, but an absolute privilege to have you on the show, and I encourage all leaders listening to book Shelley in for your teams. Get her in to workshop with your groups, and if you're listening and want a health coach, I highly recommend. Now, tell us.
Yeah, so you can check out my website, Santosa Health Coaching, which is Santosha, and that's where you can get in touch with me. And Santosa means contentment in Sanskrit. So
Nice.
Yeah, that's my philosophy.
And we'll pop all the details up on our social media pages through the week. You can catch us on Facebook at Property Matters Radio. Thank you, Shelley. Thanks for coming in and all the work you're doing. I better sign up to your Health Coach subscription to keep it ticking.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Next week, we are celebrating our 100th episode. We've got some fabulous guests in from Barfoot and Thompson who have supported us along the 100 journey, so come along. A big thank you tonight to Joe Holstead. Joe is the program manager here at Planet FM, and today was my last chance to catch her before she heads off on a different journey. So thank you, Joe, for all the support for both this show and Kick Arts, our Sunday night show. We wish you well. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Have a great week.